Well, we want to bring you a very important update. A couple weeks ago on our program, we had Congressman Tom Davis on the show. He talked a little bit of trash about the Hotline Political Pursuit Challenge. And here, a look at the contestants. You'll notice some familiar faces here from our broadcast. That's Jonathan Karl, all the way on the left, who was on a media team. They're working very hard. That's Chuck Todd and Dana Bash from CNN, who are part of the dream team of broadcast television journalists. Here they are. You see them last night answering all the tough questions. But it turns out they fell short. They came in a distant third place. And here we have the winners. It was the old school media. Who says print is dead? That is Jay Newton Small from Time, Chris Cillizza of the Washington Post, Stu Rothenberg, and Shira Toplitz. We've had 3 of the 4 on Top Line, and congratulations to them. But what happened to John Karl and Chuck Todd?
How can that be a broadcast all-star media team if you weren't there?
That's a good question. But you know, the digital world is a little bit different. Maybe next time they'll grace me with the invitation. But they've got a lot of ground to make up for next year. We're joined now by Tammy Haddad of Haddad Media, and who also runs a website. You want to give us the website? It's WHC
Insider. White House Correspondents Insider.com. And of course, because the only thing that counts this week in Washington, with all due respect to all the news you've been talking about, is this dinner and this weekend, because it's all about us.
That's right.
And it's the only time of the year. I don't know about you two, but I've gotten lots of calls of politicians who want to come and join us for various kinds of events. This is the only time they call us and beg. Usually we're begging for access and information, right?
So we're in the power seat. So how do we then, how do you navigate this weekend? This is overwhelming. A lot of parties, a lot of receptions.
Well, I think it's 2 different things. First of all, it depends what your agenda is. You know, the greatest quote about this weekend was said by Pamela Anderson, that great political analyst who said at the Bloomberg party 2 years ago, you know, everyone here has an agenda. And if I can digress early on, I sat next to her at one of the dinners, and I had Lauren Conrad from the Hills on the other side of me, and I called myself Ground Zero, because every single person I'd ever met in my life lined up to be introduced to her, and Steny Hoyer came by, the majority leader, and I said to him, look, if I will introduce you to her, if you will do every single show I produce for the rest of my life. He said, done. So I introduced her. So maybe Pamela Anderson has figured it out. But quite seriously, what is happening here is that people realize that Washington is the center of the universe. They come to Washington for policy issues, for fun. You know, you've got celebrities all across the country, and they're coming in here to get a little bit of our action. But I think it's another thing. I actually think there's a real business purpose.
Yeah.
Because for the first time, Wall Street and Main Street, as well as Hollywood, realize that all these policies are going to affect them right away. So they care about climate change. They care about what's happening on Wall Street. Which I'm interested in is how many people from Goldman Sachs and these other Wall Street firms will be in this weekend.
Now, let me ask you, though, there's such a anti-Washington sentiment that's out in the country right now among the electorate. It doesn't think things get done here. And this is one of those weekends where it's the clubby atmosphere, the insiders, the journalists that are here, and the politicians rubbing elbows with the celebrities. Is that repugnant, do you think, to the electorate at large when they see the images coming out of here, that that's just the same old Washington?
Well, I also think they think it's not just the same old Washington. It's their club. They don't tell us the truth, which is part of the way that Fox has been successful. They're not telling you the truth. We're going to tell you the truth. We're not insiders. We're outsiders. But I actually think it gets back to Tip O'Neill, who used to talk about at 6 p.m. everyone used to hang out together, and there was a lot of bipartisanship. So this may be the only weekend. You guys would know this better than I. The only weekend where you've got the president, the vice president, the cabinet, all the leaders of Congress, everyone on both sides together in one room, and they're backslapping. Am I right? Name another time.
That's pretty much it. And they're all in town for the weekend, all in Washington. No one heads back to their districts for the time. So who are the ultimate gets? Who are the biggest bold-faced names that have to be seen, and you need to make sure that you get a picture snapped with them?
Well, there's 2 different categories. One's the Hollywood category. I think one of the most amusing things about this weekend is to see big, important political people standing next to Jessica Simpson's coming this year, Ashley Greene. We hear that Tony Romo is going to come. And then there's Steven Spielberg and Kate Capshaw, and Chase Crawford's coming. He came to my party last year, and more people surrounded him than, I don't want to name the congressman, okay? But they're very popular. And we've got Matthew Morrison, the star of Glee, one of the hottest shows this year. And now listen, let's talk about the other stars, our colleagues.
Yes.
We've got Diane Sawyer, George Stephanopoulos, right? Brian Williams, MSNBC is going to have a big party, competing with the Bloomberg Vanity Fair party, after party. But you know what I always love? All of the people involved in this, all of them are always at the top of the list of everything, whether it's Hollywood, New York. This is the only time where everyone has to stand in line together, shoulder to shoulder. So it's what guest do you get? how are you going to be treated? Are you on the VIP list? So it's always fun to watch people maneuver. But you bring up the right point that maybe people at home won't like that. But I think this president's smart because he really plays to that hometown crowd. So when we see his speech, do you guys know what he's going to say?
I don't. I know there may be a little bit of a video portion, I think. Where, I don't know.
Really? Well, that's really good insight. Can we report that on White House
All yours.
Correspondents
Take it and run with it. And then Leno, of course, who's got to talk about Conan somehow.
Leno, we've got to talk. Well, it's interesting because I heard that a couple of organizations invited Conan to come. And of course, he is not going to come.
He doesn't want to compete with his 60 Minutes interview that's on this Sunday. That's his first visit.
How smart is that?
There you go.
And you know
That's
what?
bracketing.
And late night, I worked in late night TV. It makes politics look like nothing. It is a tough game, guys.
Well, Tammy, clearly you'll get us into all the parties.
Absolutely.
It's a condition of coming on, right?
Just give me a list.
Thank you very much, Tammy.
Thanks. Don't miss this week, this weekend. Janet Napolitano, Ken Salazar down with our Jake Tapper. And I will be on the red carpet with Anna Marie Cox. We'll have a good time. Check us out, abcnews.com. Follow us, The Note.
See you on Monday. Thanks, everyone.